A world without plants is lifeless. I mean it metaphorically and realistically. Plants have made an outstanding contribution to every living creature existing on Earth. They produce oxygen, take in carbon dioxide, and keep our atmosphere stable. They also provide food, clothing, medicines, and many more. The benefits of having these natural gifts from the Earth are not only received by humans, but also by our pet fish. That's why it's helpful for them to be surrounded by them, whether in their natural habitat or aquarium. But how could you know which type of plants will suit them best? It's easy to know, fish keepers, and I can help you, especially if you own a freshwater tank, because in today's video, we'll highlight the 30 best freshwater plants for your aquarium. All you have to do is stick with me until the end of this video, because I'm about to share with you beautiful and reasonable to care for plants here at Aquarium Store Depot. Plants used in freshwater aquariums have various benefits, including providing fish and other aquatic animals with great cover. Maintaining excellent water quality and lowering the amount of upkeep required can be accomplished by growing aquatic plants. In the aquarium hobby, 4 types of plants are commonly used. If you're wondering what these are, I'll give you a glimpse. First, carpeting plants. Typically in the aquascape's foreground, they are planted densely or allowed to grow across a tank's bottom. Although most species are modest, some must be regularly pruned to maintain a low, tidy appearance. Examples of common aquarium carpet plants include dwarf hairgrass and dwarf baby tears. Second, the epiphytes. Even though these plants may grow a robust root system, they utilize it to anchor themselves to rocks and wood rather than the substrate. In a freshwater aquarium, the Java fern is an example of an epiphyte that can be glued, wedged, or attached to a solid object. Third, the stem plants. Fast-growing species known as stem plants either float on the surface of the water or grow upward into the water column. Some are root feeders and are required to be planted in the substrate. Many fast-growing plants require frequent pruning. The Hornwort, Anacharis, and water Wisteria are common stem plants. And fourth, the mosses. These adaptable plants can be fastened to driftwood and rocks or float in the water column. They're generally low maintenance and are favored when used in a bonsai-style driftwood. Now that you know the 4 types of plants to use in a freshwater tank, it's time for us to finally meet the 30 best plants you can consider adding to your freshwater tank. Starting our list, let's talk about the Java fern. The Java fern is a fantastic aquarium plant for almost anyone. High light, CO2 injection, or even substrate are not necessary for the growth of this Southeast Asian fern. Additionally, they're resistant to fish nibbling due to its robust leaves. Second on our list is the Anubias. The RSA family of low-light aquarium plants include the Anubias genus. These slow-growing plants, like the Java fern, are epiphytes. Therefore, you should use glue or thread to affix them to your hardscape. The hobby offers a variety of species, from smaller ones like the Nana Petite, which is an excellent foreground plant, to bigger ones like the Anubias barteri for the middle ground. Next is the Bucephalandra. Bucephalandras are epiphytes with lovely hues that develop slowly. Numerous species and variations have various leaf sizes, shades, and forms. These plants are ideal for your aquarium's mid-ground hardscape and are typically simple to grow. For the 4th plant, have you heard about the Cryptocoryne? A vast group of rosette plants known as cryptochromes, or crypts for short, share a lot of similarities in appearance. These plants are relatively simple to maintain and grow rooted in the substrate. Select compact species like C. parva for a captivating foreground, or more substantial choices like C. wenti for the middle ground. This next plant will pierce through your heart. Take a look at the Amazon sword. The Amazon sword makes a great background or mid-ground plant for larger aquariums. This easy-to-care-for rosette plant has huge upright leaves that are ideal for giving off a lush tropical appearance. Because the roots of these plants grow in the substrate, you'll need a substrate layer that's rather deep for them to form strong roots. 6th on the list is the Java moss. For the planted aquarium, Java moss is a simple and adaptable species. Although most aquarists prefer to tie this species to their hardscape, it will grow in the aquarium without being anchored. This plant is a superb species for breeding projects because it forms excellent shelters for shrimp and fry when allowed to grow wild. Want to have Christmas presents on your tank all over the year? Then try keeping Christmas moss. With the proper care, Christmas moss can look genuinely lovely. Despite being a slower growing and more difficult moss species than Java moss, its branching pattern, which resembles a small Christmas tree, gave rise to its name. 8th on the list is the Ludwigia Natans Super Red. Ludwigia natans is a stunning upright stem plant that can enhance the red hues in your planted aquarium. It also looks lovely when produced in close together clusters to give the aquarium a more prominent appearance. If you can keep the quality of your water consistent, this plant is straightforward to grow and spread. Under low light and lack of CO2 and iron, this red plant can become green. The 9th plant is the water wisteria. Fast-growing water wisteria can be utilized as a feature in the middle of tanks or as a part of a group to create a bushy green wall at the back of a planted aquarium. When grown immersed, this intriguing plant has rounded leaves with a toothed border. Nevertheless, when grown entirely submerged in an aquarium, the foliage turns to spiky feathers. If you haven't tried the Ludwigia Repens, this is the time to do so. The stem plant Ludwigia Repens exhibits a variety of hues, ranging from bright green to crimson or gold. Cuttings from this plant can be easily multiplied, and it grows swiftly. It's great for the background of planted aquariums and looks best when planted in a dense clump. We've already reached our first 10 freshwater plants on the list, but we have a long way to go, fish keepers. But before we continue, it would be awesome if you give this video a thumbs up and smash that subscribe button continuously to be updated with our latest videos every week. Now back on track. Let's give it up for the 11th plant on the list, called Monte Carlo. The Micranthemum Monte Carlo plant has small, spherical, delicately textured leaves. It spreads out and it's green in color. It's one of the best carpet plant for planted aquariums foregrounds. Although this plant is simple to cultivate, a dense, low carpet requires intense lighting and carbon dioxide injection. Next is the Dwarf Hairgrass. One of the most incredible carpet plants for planted aquariums is the Dwarf Hairgrass because it can mimic a natural lawn. This carpet plant can also be utilized in low-tech setups, but it'll grow best with adequate light and CO2 infusion. This plant can withstand moderate water flow but needs a few weeks of low flow to develop strong roots. After Dwarf Hairgrass, your next option is the Floating Fern. The Floating Fern is an intriguing plant with hair-covered, bright green, wavy fronds. It's an excellent plant for fish tanks with timid species like African killifish or open-top display aquariums. Be mindful that this quickly expanding plant has the potential to cover the entire surface of your aquarium, depriving your other plants of light that they require to thrive. 14th is the Red Root Floater. The Red Root Floater is a beautiful floating plant that's green or pinkish and has red roots that protrude into the water. This plant grows best in open aquariums so that you can admire its vibrant spherical leaves from above. This plant might even blossom into little white flowers if it's happy and healthy in your tank. Are you familiar with our next plant, called Subwassertang? If you were, comment below. For those who don't know, this peculiar moss that resembles seaweed called Subwassertang can be fixed to your hardscape or allowed to float in the aquarium naturally. It's a fantastic plant for fish or shrimp breeders who want to give small fry a safe natural hiding place. 16th on the list is the Dwarf Water Lettuce. A lovely floating plant with light green leaves and roots is the Dwarf Water Lettuce. Despite its potential for fast growth, this plant only requires a little light to survive in most tanks. Before acquiring this lovely plant, ensure that you're aware of local regulations in your area, because water lettuce has a bad reputation for growing invasive and is prohibited in many US states. Next on the list is Hornwort. A stem plant with thin needle-like leaves, Hornwort overgrows. You may let this plant float in a water column or use plant ways to anchor it firmly because it does not send roots down into the substrate. Hornwort is incredibly simple to cultivate and requires no additional care, such as highlighting or CO2. These plants are also beneficial for removing excess nitrates from the water and lowering maintenance requirements. Vallisneria is another plant option you can try. A genus of grass-like plants known as Vallisneria range in height from around 8 inches to about 2 feet. These plants spread by putting down roots and runners along the substrate surface. Vallisnerias look great when left to grow up to the surface and bend over, especially when the tank has good water flow. They are perfect for the background of your aquascape. Najas Indica, or guppy grass, is another plant for freshwater tanks. Guppy grass is ideal for aquarists looking for a plant that will multiply with little work. Due to its great hiding spots for young shrimp and fry, this stem plant is perfect for breeding projects. Guppy grass can even be grown in an aquarium without a substrate because it doesn't require one. If you're an avid fan of our channel, you should probably know the pearlweed. The adaptable species known as pearlweed can be cultivated as an upright stem plant or frequently pruned to promote a low carpet. It will expand quickly in a fish tank, especially if it has access to more CO2 and bright lights. However, the center and rear of smaller aquariums can also be used to allow this low-maintenance plant to reach its maximum size. Now hold on tight because we're finally heading to our next batch of plants, starting with the Anacharis. Even novice aquarists can successfully grow the quickly growing Anacharis plant. This adaptable plant can either be fastened in the substrate or float freely in the tank. Anacharis is best in tanks 10 gallons or more because it grows quickly and large. It can also be used as a food source for fish like goldfish. Always dispose of your clippings carefully, as it has the potential to be very invasive in nearby waterways. Another option we have is the Nymphaea tiger lotus. The unusual red tiger lotus plant will give your freshwater tank color and interest. This African plant sprouts from a bulb and shoots bright leaves upward. If given adequate light, these plants will even blossom lovely flowers. Going on with our next plant, meet the Amazon Frogbit. Beautiful floating plants for freshwater aquariums include Amazon Frogbit. It has intriguing pale green roots that hang down into the water column and smooth circular green leaves that float at the surface. Fish and shrimp can explore the ideal setting provided by these plants, which also shade the water. Dwarf Sagittaria is another plant option that you'll love. One of the greatest plants for a foreground or middle of a freshwater aquarium is a Dwarf Sagittaria. It does not require particular growing conditions. If cultivated in strong light and with CO2 injection, it'll most likely produce a dense low carpet. This plant establishes roots in the substrate and thrives in good aqua soil or fertilized substrate. Water Sprite will surely refresh your tank when added. A water sprite is a fast-growing aquatic fern with delicate, complex leaves. This plant is a fantastic option for the background of medium-sized aquariums because it multiplies and can grow over a foot tall. Although it can float in the water column or be weighed down to the substrate, water sprite does not establish a robust root system. You are going to love the next name of this plant, the Bacopa Caroliniana. Lemon Bacopa is an upright stem plant with a slow growth rate that can be cultivated in the background or middle of your aquarium. Although it is relatively simple to produce this plant from cuttings, it grows rooted in the substrate. It does not require high CO2, but good light is necessary to develop. Another plant on the list is the giant Ambulia. A stunning backdrop plant with exquisite dense foliage is the giant Ambulia. Although it has an upright growth form, it will spread horizontally when cultivated in ideal conditions. Good nutritional levels and more carbon dioxide will promote this plant's optimal growth. The 28th plant on the list is Echinodorus Muricatus. A lovely green rosette plant for medium-sized to big aquariums is called Muricatus. There are no specific needs for this all-green plant, which grows rooted in the substrate. The optimal conditions for its growth, like those with other species, are good lighting and ample access to carbon dioxide. Having this next plant in your tank is worth every penny. Check out the Pennywort. Brazilian Pennywort is an adaptable, simple plant grown in almost any freshwater tank. It can be cultivated floating on the surface or rooted in the substrate, and it does well in various water temperatures. This plant thrives in a home aquarium and spreads quickly. And last but certainly not least on our list of freshwater plants is the Rotala Rotundifolia. One of the most well-liked freshwater aquarium plants in the hobby is the Dwarf Rotala, which has many hues and variations. If planted in close clusters, this Asian stem plant expands swiftly and makes a stunning background or midground feature. Whew, alright fish keepers, that's all I got for you in this video. Feeling like it's not enough? You still want to find more? There's no problem with that. You can check out more information about this topic on our official website, at www.aquariumstoredepot.com, where we answer all the frequently asked questions about these freshwater plants. Sure, you already know why purchasing such plants is essential. If you like what you saw in this video, comment your top 5 plant choices below. You can also share the link to this video with your friends and inform them about the benefits of having these plants in their aquarium. I'll see you on the next topic, fish keepers. Thanks for watching.